I think the ending caught everybody by surprise, and notably the writers. So I think their job is in some ways a lot harder than ours is. They're the ones that have developed the entire cosmology.
Did they not know that it was coming to an end, or was it just all of a sudden they were told you have to write an ending? You don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's simply because I am talking to all these boxes here that I'm not told what they know, and that the decisions there are the decisions that are there. They're very careful as to, I think, what they tell the actors. And I mean, I found out that I was in the next episode when the script arrived at my door. So I get the script and I know that I'm in the next episode, and thank you for it. Don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful for the work. If it wasn't for Stargate, again, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So it's been a tremendous job, and I'm very thankful for what it was, and I'm sad to have seen it gone. But there's other things that will come, and there's other things that are coming. So I'm not fatalistic about it, but I'm glad that it was around. And I don't pretend to second guess their decisions or their reasons for why they wanted to do certain things. So if that's what they want to do, it's their prerogative. They invented the thing. They asked me to participate, and I'm happy to have done that.
One last thing, Canadian food, butter tarts invented in Saskatchewan, Nanaimo bars.
Nanaimo?
Vice.
Exactly. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's an interesting thing. What is Canadian food? Was asked that on stage today.
Chinese buffet.
Yeah, that's as Canadian, and go for Indian, you go for Malaysian. That's sushi in Vancouver. It is huge. It's become part of the staple of diet. So we take on everything.
Quick question for you as a director, projects coming up, what sort of categories of work are you most hoping to do, and what seems to be sort of viable both economically and creatively?
I know when I speak about directing, I speak about theater primarily. So I'm fortunate in that I have friends in various theaters in BC that I'm in negotiation with to work on doing that. I've just finished directing a kids play. I love directing for kids. That's tremendous fun. So if you're ever out in Chemainus, 11 o'clock, Wednesdays to Friday to Saturdays at the Chemainus Theater, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Thank you, hello cameras. That was for you, Mark DeMay. And other than that, I do it because I enjoy it, and because there's also much more control in terms of your career when you're a director. And directing is an act of will. You can pick up a script and direct, whereas acting, you have to be asked to act. You're the girl at the dance that has to be asked to dance. So sometimes that sort of flies in the face of my character. I don't like to wait. I'm not always the most patient person, so being able to do something that is something I can actually work on and do does me well. So number one is acting, and if the opportunity presents itself in the time, I will do some directing as well.
They want to know here, it says, did you have any interest prior to the show, or has the show inspired any interest in Egyptian history? So were you interested in the Egyptian theme beforehand? And also he wants to know if you've been to Egypt and seen any of the sites.
Hello, Cairo. I know where you're from. I haven't, and I'd love to. I remember seeing King Tut when I was in grade 7 in Seattle, and I thought that was neat. Because I was 7, so I thought it was neat. But the thing that Stargate does with archaeology, I thought was really interesting. It's an interesting take that hasn't been done in other sci-fi shows. Sci-fi shows tend to be kind of serious and heavy-handed and don't have much of a sense of humor. What Stargate did very well was put together elements from sociology, anthropology, from everything, and throw in a good sense of humor, which is, I think, what gives the show its universal appeal. That and with the what-if element that I was talking about earlier. But no, I didn't have much more other than a layman's interest in Egyptology. But if you'd like to invite me to Cairo, I'll be happy to come.
Andre?
Just one more in the area. You and David Hewlett, your two characters, there's definitely some really good and fun chemistry going on there. Is there any prospect of the two of you doing anything else at some point in the future, be it a visual medium, audio, written?
I'm never going to work with Hewlett again. You're kidding. Of course there is. I mean, It's as recently as a few months ago, I spoke to him down there and we talked. We said that we should do something together because we work together well. I think the producers might have noticed that as well, that it works well. So hopefully they'll be taking advantage of that. And I'm happy to hear that. It's always fun to work with someone else. He's a fine guy. He's a fine actor. He's a terrific gentleman. So very happy to be able to work with him. So welcome any chance to work with him again.
Your theater work's been mentioned a lot today, so I've heard from other actors in sci-fi that a background in theater helps a lot in terms of being persuasive with a lot of the sci-fi elements, like the aliens and the setting, the technobabble. Has that been your experience as well?
Well, it helps, but I don't know if it's specific to sci-fi. I mean, the idea of acting on stage and acting in television is in some ways quite different. Theater is much more of a sort of a holistic thing where you sort of do it all in one go. You learn about the author, you learn your lines, and it's a community. You're working together with the audience, and it's kind of more of an event. Television, you just sort of wake up in the morning, you know your lines, you go there, you shoot them, you have lunch, and then you go home and you wash the dishes. You know, it's a kind of it's an ordinary sort of process that doesn't have any kind of on the day you don't have any interaction with who you're working on. So you come here and you go, wow, people are watching this. There's people that are seeing what's happening, and so of course it prepares you as an actor that you're this transferable. But it's just like in management of some kind. I mean, you have skills in management one area, and you go to another area. They're applicable, but they're entirely different. It's an entirely different sort of style of acting. You have to be smaller. You have to be much more concentrated. You have to sort of invent things a lot more, I find, because the stage you actually get that from your partner. But whereas on stage, either he might not even be there. It might be a green screen. It might be a tennis ball on the end of a C stand. It's whoever you're acting to, you have to be able to act to that. So,
since you're into directing theater, and I was wondering if you'd ever think about directing like RUR, since that's
it's a Czech play. It's right.
Czech play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great idea. Karel Čapek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know theater? Do you?
No, I just know the play.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Rossum's Universal Robots.
Yeah, that's where we get robots from.
That's where you get robots from, yeah. It's actually a Slovak word.
Yeah, Doroboty.
Doroboty, mówię
Yeah.
Slovensky.
A little bit. My grandmother was Slovak. I was raised Slovak, and I know all the filthy words.
Very good.
Yeah, we're from Slovak.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Not really. I just use that as an example. Sorry.
Well, I'm afraid our time together is drawing to
I'm afraid our time together is drawing to a close. Is there any more questions from the internet?
No, they just said something about you co-founding Prague's best-known English live theater. Is that true?
Miserless Company. That's what we were called, yes.
Awesome.
And
Internet.
Getting back to working with David Hewlett, I to talk about that. I recently, a couple weeks ago, heard about his project, Dog's Breakfast. Did you have any involvement in that?
It was so funny because I was just razzing him about him this morning too. I keep bugging him about him. Oh, so that's the project you did invite me in.
Oh.
No, that was, I think he had that written and he had that cast sort of before we had begun to work together in any sort of capacity. So I won't hold it against him. But I wonder if Stan Laurel had all these questions about Oliver Hardy. I wonder.
And just before you leave us, do you have any upcoming projects, any plans you'd like to share while you have a captive
promote?
audience hanging on your every word?
Directors of the world, hello, give me a call. Some audition.